are our greatest weapon of all.
First step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one.
It's time we started fresh. Pain isn't something we thought.
All we can ever do for our heroes is remember them, and they gave up two lives, the one they were living and the one they would have lived. They gave up everything for our country, for us. They pray for freedom and justice.
Some veterans not getting the timely care that they need. Less than 1% of Americans serving in uniform. Good news is that in recent years we've made historic investments to boost the VA budget.
What is it? Why should we care?
We should care about press freedom
Because we were informed.
In democratic societies, free, diverse, and pluralist media enable public debates and are essential checks
You don't
on
look
power.
satisfied.
Let's discuss.
Hey guys, welcome to Vet podcast. New episode. Today we are talking about emergency care at non-VA facility for 911 cases most of the time. If this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming. In the event of an emergency when a VA facility is not the nearest medical facility, it's better not to delay treatment by attempting to request VA payment authorization first, so you make sure that you not end up with a huge bill. And instead, you proceed to the nearest emergency room to get the care you need. And the medical emergency is generally defined as a condition of such a nature that a prudent layperson would reasonably expect a delay in seeking immediate medical attention to be hazardous to life or health. And I know that a prudent layperson would confuse me.
Right?
Right.
And they will argue with that.
Yes.
So in 2001, the U.S. Congress provided VA with authorization called the Mill Bill to pay for emergency care in non-VA facilities for veterans enrolled in the VA healthcare system. The benefit will pay for emergency care rendered for non-service connected conditions for enrolled veterans who have no other source of payment for the care. However, VA will only pay to the point of medical stability. There are very strict guidelines concerning these types of claims. Veterans and their non-VA providers should be aware that these claims must be filed with the VA within 90 days from the last day of the emergent care.
Yeah. How would you define an emergency situation?
So, a medical emergency is when you have an injury or illness that is so severe that without immediate treatment, the injury or illness threatens your health or life.
How do I know if my situation is an emergency?
That's the hard part. That's the best prudent layperson, where the VA is going to argue with you because you want to use your best judgment. If you believe your health or life is in danger, then you call 911 and go to the nearest emergency room. But in some cases, I've seen people thinking they had heart attacks and it was really heartburn, and the VA got you with the bill even though you were scared out of your mind thinking you were having a heart attack. So.
Mm-hmm. So maybe sometimes it's just a luck, but
Yeah.
but most of the time it's just a fear for your own life, and that's it's better to be sorry afterwards.
Yeah.
Than,
Yeah. And better to have a bill than to die.
So if I believe my life or health is in danger, do I need to call VA before I call an ambulance, 911, or go to an emergency room?
No, you want to get to emergency room right away. So call 911 or get to emergency room.
Do I need to notify VA after an ambulance takes me to an emergency room or when I'm treated and released?
Yes, you or your family, your friends, or hospital staff should contact the nearest VA medical center as soon as possible. Preferably, the VA wants it within 72 hours, so you're better aware of services the VA may limit payment for. Provide the VA with information about your emergency event and services being provided to you. Ask the VA for guidance on how they will consider reimbursing these emergency charges on your behalf so you can plan accordingly.
Well, a lot of the times you would have your or some people would have their VA card in their wallet. So, and I don't know if it happens to you, but I heard stories that when people go to like regular hospital, like the first person they see is not a doctor, it's somebody who's asking for your financial information or asking for some kind of money. And so that's I guess when you would be using that card, because once you're up and can communicate somehow, somebody would want to talk to you, and that's when that VA card would help you if you have it in your wallet.
Yeah.
So if the admission is an emergency, if an emergency, no, you should tell VA as fast as possible that you've been admitted to an emergency room. So you can be either treated at this emergency room or be transferred to VA hospital.
Yeah.
So an eligible veteran may receive emergency care at a non-VA health care facility at VA expenses when a VA facility or other federal health care facility with which VA has agreement is unable to furnish economical care due to the veteran's geographical inaccessibility to a VA medical facility, or when VA is unable to furnish the needed emergency services. That's a hard part to argue as well.
Yeah.
Just an official statement. So are there any payment limitations for non-VA emergency care?
Emergency care must be pre-authorized by VA. When the emergency care is not authorized in advance by the VA, it may be considered as pre-authorized care when the nearest VA medical facility is notified within 72 hours of admission. The veteran is eligible and the care rendered is emergent in nature. Claims for non-VA emergency care not authorized by the VA in advance of services being furnished must be timely filed. Because timely filing requirements differ by type of claim, you should contact the nearest VA medical facility as soon as possible to avoid payment denial for an untimely filed claim. Payment may not be approved for any period beyond the date on which the medical emergency ended, except when VA cannot accommodate transfer of the veteran to a VA or other federal facility. An emergency is deemed to have ended at the point where a VA physician has determined that, based on sound medical judgment, the veteran who received emergency hospital care could have been transferred from the non-VA facility to a VA medical center for continuation of treatment.
Yeah, there are some emergency care that VA can authorize in advance, and we have a table on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. Some cases.
Yeah.
So another question would be, can VA pay for non-VA emergency care that is not pre-authorized?
VA has limited payment authority when emergency care at a non-VA facility is provided without authorization by VA in advance of services being furnished, or when notification to the VA is not made within 72 hours of admission. VA may pay for unauthorized emergency care as indicated below, since payment may be limited to the point of your condition is stable for transfer to a VA facility. The nearest VA medical facility should be contacted as soon as possible for all care not authorized by VA in advance of services being furnished.
So there are two categories for service-connected and non-service-connected. So what about service-connected?
So for service-connected, VA may only pay for emergency care provided in a non-VA facility for certain veterans who are rated by the VA with a service-connected disability. VA may pay for emergency inpatient or outpatient care when treatment is needed for the veteran's rated service-connected disability or for a non-service condition that is associated with and aggravating the veteran's service-connected condition. A VA facility was not considered feasibly available when the urgency of the veteran's medical condition, the relative distance of travel involved, or the nature of the treatment required makes it necessary or economically advisable to use public or private facilities. VA may only pay for emergency care provided in a non-VA facility for certain veterans who are rated by the VA with a service-connected disability. VA may pay for emergency inpatient or outpatient care when treatment is needed for any condition of a veteran who is rated by VA as permanently and totally disabled due to service-connected disabilities. Condition of a veteran who is an active participant in the VA Chapter 31 Vocational Rehab and Employment Program, who needs treatment medically determined to make possible the veteran's entrance into a course of training or to prevent interruption of a course of training that was interrupted due to such illness, injury, or dental condition. A prudent layperson would have reasonably expected that delay in seeking immediate medical attention would have been hazardous to life or health. Once authorization for care is granted by VA, the authorization will be continued after admission for only the period of time required to stabilize or improve the patient's condition to the extent that further care is no longer required to satisfy.
Yeah, so those are for if you have a service connection.
Yep.
What about for non-service connected condition?
Little bit different rules. So for non-service connected, VA, which means pension, VA may only pay for emergency care provided in a non-VA facility for treatment of a non-service connected condition only if all the following requirements are met. The episode of care cannot be paid as an unauthorized claim for service-connected veterans. The veteran is enrolled in VHA healthcare system and received VA medical care within a 24-month period preceding the furnishing of the emergency treatment. VA may only pay for emergency care provided in a non-VA facility for treatment of a non-service connected condition only if all the following conditions are met. The veteran is personally liable to the healthcare provider for the emergency treatment that meets the prudent layperson definition of an emergency. The veteran has no other contractual or legal resources against a third party that would in whole extinguish the veteran's liability. The claim must be filed within 90 days from the date of discharge or the date the veteran exhausted without success of any actions to obtain payment from a third party. A prudent layperson would have reasonably expected that delay in seeking immediate medical attention would have been hazardous to life or health. Once authorization for care is granted by the VA, the authorization will be continued after admission or only for the period of time required to stabilize or improve the patient's condition to the extent that further care is no longer required to satisfy the purpose it was initiated. The veteran is not entitled to care or services under a health plan contract. Treatment was provided in a hospital emergency room.
Yep, there are, of course, some rules, but myself would probably I would retain from the podcast that if I get to the hospital and I'm somehow consciousness, so I would try to get a hold of VA in the next 72 hours.
Yeah, if you're able to speak, let them know that you're a veteran and you go to the VA for medical. If you're unconscious, hopefully they look in your wallet. If you have family members, hopefully they mention that you go to the VA. So if you are a family member of a veteran, let that hospital know that this person's a veteran and they seek medical treatment at a VA facility. Just to be on the safe end. At least it's brought up. But of course there's like those funny rules of what a prudent person would know.
Right.
That the VA has to be told in 72 hours after an emergency and like you could be unconscious.
Yeah, I bet that there is a huge book on what a prudent person should be.
Yeah. But those are the rules.
Yeah. So do you have any information or resources to recommend or share?
I've just been reading law books lately. Cases are cool. If you guys are into reading law cases, they're actually more interesting than you would think.
Yeah, at the end, the quote of Words of Wisdom of the Day.
Focus on your goals, topic and takeaways, so start acting today.
Yeah, it's just a general quote from internet.
Yeah.
So start taking care of your benefits today.
Yep.
Thank you. That's it, folks. Thank you for listening. Until next time, over and out.
Thank you.